we started getting more and more contracts to help businesses get online through foundations, through cities, through governments, something we've never done before the pandemic. And now it's 60% of our revenue.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So what message do you have for these and for the entrepreneurs, for the founders that, okay, if I give you $100 to you, Roberto, today, how much money you gonna put in product development and how much money you gonna put in marketing and sales? So first time founders have an idea how to use resources effectively, because it's having a good product is just a very small piece of the equation, right?
I completely agree. A lot of the times, think about us as consumers. We buy products that aren't that great, but because they do so much marketing and brand development, we think it's amazing. But we know there's other better products in the marketplace. There's two things that I live by when it comes to getting my business started and scaling my business. The first one is called OPM. What is OPM? Other people's money. And so what do we mean by this? We have to identify people in our network, in our ecosystem, who are willing to let us borrow money at a low interest rate or give us money for a percentage of our company, which is VC funding, and you use that money to start your company. Now, we understand we might not have those networks, so then start small. Rapid prototyping. So what do I mean by that? We have a product. There's no shame in this game because we are mission driven. So what do? We test out the product in free platforms like Facebook Marketplace. Try to sell that product in Facebook Marketplace. Try to sell that product on TikTok. Try to sell that product on Etsy, on Pinterest. There's a lot of free marketplaces where you can sell your product to see if people actually like it, so you're not burning through your capital, which is extremely important. Now, I went to school, not that school is important, but they teach you unit economics. What's the lifetime value of my customer? What's the customer acquisition cost? That's important. That's extremely important. But if the customer loves your product or not. And so listening to why they bought it from you and talking to them once they buy it from you is going to help you market that product better in those channels. And then we have a little bit of money to play with. Okay, now we run advertising. Now we do paid ads. Now we go and do Facebook, Google, Instagram, and run ads to increase the amount of customers that are coming into our funnel.
Yeah. But and then, Roberto, still with the distribution of funds, the entrepreneur needs to know that the product, okay, out of the 500 millionaires that we have interviewed in this podcast, I haven't found anybody yet that told me, Harry, the product, how I designed it, I sold it like this, and it was amazing. I make a lot of money. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me this. It doesn't really work this way. You design, like you're talking, a prototype, something that we call MVP, minimum viable product, but somehow the entrepreneurs out there, they are forgetting this word in the beginning, minimum viable product. And what they do is they put all the money, energy in creating an amazing product, and then they are taking the resources, creating an amazing product, and these resources should be used exactly what you described, to go out and test and to show to the market if they want to buy this product in that form. Because if you have low resources and you don't use the resources effectively, because you're creating the product that you think that will solve the problem, but because you're creating the product, you're not the buyer. You don't know how the market want to buy the product, right? And this is where things start to go sour. And that's why we have this huge rate of 90% of companies failing after 2 years, because exactly in this part where the entrepreneur needs to understand that they need to find somebody like you or someone with the marketing expertise that is able at least to guide them and show them few ways. Could be free, could be, because anyway, even if you don't have money, you have time. Again, you have to manage your time. How much time you're gonna put in showing your product to people and how much time you're gonna put in developing the product. Let's suppose that you have money. The problem is still the same. how you distribute your time or your resources. Because if you don't do it in a way that is sustainable, that makes sense, then there is no way that you're gonna get the product market fit, because taking the product to the market is not cheap. It is cost money. I mean, to get a consultant like you, I presume this is something that costs money. So you need to have resources
Well,
to find someone
Harry,
to help you.
well, yeah,
And if you take all this money to develop the product, then you're gonna end up with a lovely product in your bedroom. So we have like I said, it's out of the experience, because I have a lot of startup founders in several industries, including tech, and we find the problem again and again and again and again and again and again. It's like a how can I explain to you? It's like a disease, a viral disease that we find in startup founders, that again they are trapped in the product. They love the product so much, and they don't understand that this product is just a prototype, and you are an strangers, that you need to show your stranger product to a group of strangers, and you need qualified people that guide you to this process. And this is definitely you need to allocate resources for that. So what's your view on this?
no. I mean, Harry, you said so many important things in the span of a minute. MVP, extremely important. Understanding market fit with your MVP, listening to the consumer so you could adapt and adopt that MVP. You know, our journey as entrepreneurs, we love what we do. We're mission driven. The money is great. Don't get me wrong. Being a millionaire is great, but it's just we're living our purpose. We know why we do it. So we get really attached to our product. It becomes our baby. But you have to let the baby grow up, and you have to let the market tell you what the baby's going to become. And so I love the story of Airbnb, right? We have this amazing company now, but 10, 15 years ago, they didn't have a market fit. And so they had a lot of adopters, early adopters, which is extremely important when you're testing out your MVP, to talk to the people who are using it
Mhm.
first. And so the story goes that the founder realized that they have a big marketplace in New York, but they were wondering, like, why is New York the marketplace for us, and how are they using the product? And their consultant, someone like you or me, Harry, told the founders, go fly to New York and see how the customer's using the product. So they flew to New York. They're going into these houses, and they're seeing how the customer's using the product. These are people who are renting out their space. And the customer does not know how to operate the system when they're uploading pictures, when they're working on their computer to set up their profile. And the engineer founder is saying, no, 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 you're doing it wrong. That's not how you set up your profile. What are you doing? Don't upload that picture. And the customer's looking at them and is like, you're silly. I'm the customer, not you. Why
Exactly.
didn't you build it
Wow.
for me?
A
Exactly.
great story,
You need to
huh?
build, boom. Like, and he realized we build it for ourselves. We didn't build it for the customer. And so that story really encapsulates the importance of being there, seeing how your customer plays with the product or service, seeing what their pain point truly is and how you're fixing that pain point. And then adopting and adapting a very, very rapid prototype so that you could get it back into the marketplace. When it comes to software, it's called sprints. When it comes to services, it's adapting what the pain point is and communicating that pain point in a way that makes the customer say, yes, that's my pain point. This is how I want to use your product. And then the third piece you touched on is, once you have that, having enough money to get it back into the marketplace, to test it out again. Listen, test, come back. Listen, test, come back. Rebuild, rebuild, rebuild until you find enough people so it's sustainable for you. I love it, Harry.
So Roberto, tell us, what are your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur, and how you become that challenge growing your business?
I think we entrepreneurs see problems as opportunities. That's why we are where we're sitting at here, Harry. We understand that when there's a problem, there's money to be made, right? Oh, there's a problem. Let me fix that problem. So we
Eh,
are always seeing opportunities. Still no.
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yes. So it's an opportunity and it's a threat. For those of us who are entrepreneurs, our biggest threat as a company was the global pandemic. Everything shut down.
Wow, big
We
challenge,
had
yeah.
a huge challenge, and everyone who's been in your show knows how big of a challenge that was. We had to shrink our workforce by 40%. But within that challenge, there was an opportunity. Guess what? Everyone has to move to online now. What are we? We're a marketing agency. Opportunity. And so what did we do? We created a program for different cities to help the city get the small business to get online, to have a website, to
Wow.
have a social media presence, to develop branding so they could communicate and sell online. So while we shrank our company, we started getting more and more contracts to help businesses get online through foundations, through cities, through governments, something we've never done before the pandemic. And now it's 60% of our revenue. So that threat
Wow.
became an opportunity. Yes, and it's growing.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.